That was awesome. Good job, Doug, man. That was fantastic.
Intro.
We are
Absolutely. God, I feel so fancy now. We can hear you.
I hate this. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can hear
absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Oh, great.
And there's no echo.
Great.
Just in the nick of time.
Now, how bad is my feedback?
Now there was an echo.
Bad.
Huh?
Bad.
Yep.
Bad?
Yep.
Bad.
Well, I'm going to have to go out and get my other computer, so you guys just take the show away.
Well,
Because I don't know what's going on with it. I used it 2 nights ago. It was fine.
but we could hear you. We could hear you. And you could hear us. And you could hear us.
Drop
Yeah,
him,
but you're
Doug.
saying
Thank you. That was driving me absolutely crazy. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is our fifth episode, Nick?
I lost track.
I think it's 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5.
5. All right.
5 official ones.
5 official ones, 1 not official one that was excellent that will never see the light of day ever again.
The pilot episode.
That's right. Now we actually have a full-on intro, music. Doug killed it this week.
Yep.
And we are joined by Ron would normally do this, but we are joined by Ron's best friend of 55 years, Ruth, who
He's gone.
he's not even there. So, Ruth, would you mind, before Ron comes back, give us a little bit of dirt on how you two met? Because at 55 years old, Ron's 63 or 62, so you guys were what, like 7?
Actually, it's probably even more than 55 years. But I just first want to talk about. It would have been nice to keep Ron on camera so we could see him with his hammer trying to get his computer to work. That would have been fun to watch. So, actually, I think about 1964. So I was 5. Ron's parents sold a house, and my parents bought the house that they sold, and they moved a half a block away. So technically, we probably met during that transition and been lifelong friends since.
Well, it was like meeting you down at Pheasant Fest was like meeting the best celebrity there, as far as I'm concerned, because I've been hearing stories about you since I started listening to Ron's podcast 5 years ago now. So it's great for you to be on. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't get to hunt with Ron as much as I used to, but at least once or twice a year I do. But, sometimes I talk to him 3 times a day. Sometimes I don't talk to him for a week, but I know everything about all of you guys, all his podcasts, all the different things he does. And it's just an absolute blast. We have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So at the top of the hour, when we actually start the official Hunters Happy Hour here in 59 or 54 minutes or whatever it is, Ron actually has this old it's like a sportsman's trivia, like Trivial Pursuit game that we're actually going to try to play here a little bit later on. I'm not sure if we have anything to give away tonight. Do we have anything to give away this week, Doug?
Not that I know of.
Oh,
we could always give away some Project Upland.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
We'll do a 1-year subscription to Project Upland.
There we go. Sweet, man.
Are you going to come up with a trivia question between now and then?
Well, we'll use one of Ron's.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah. I don't know how. Well, I guess we'll just, like we always do, the first person to type in the answer.
Well, I was listening to your podcast today, and my buddy Nate Burbach just won something from you. So, geez,
Yes,
you're giving away everything.
Yep, I reached out to him today. He said he was pretty pumped. I gotta get that in the mail. Hey, Doug, who was the intro music?
Yeah, that. So
cover that.
I guess we should ask how many of you all have heard of the Plot Hounds.
Not me. I know what a plot hound is.
You know what a plot hound is? It only seemed fitting that we would have a band named after a
bear dog.
Bear dog.
Yeah.
So the Plot Hounds actually gave, I guess, we started off with Ron's podcast. I don't know if it was last year, maybe the year before, but gave Ron an invitation to use their music for whatever they wanted to use it for. So we reached out to them last week, got their permission, and this is from their new album. I believe the song was called "Damn the Wind." And we stripped the lyrics out of it and dumped it in there last minute today. So I'm very grateful for that. So if you guys have not heard of them, check them out on YouTube. They've got a whole ton of really cool videos and music videos you can check out. Looks like Ron's trying to get back in.
Hey, guys, do me a favor if I'm still an echo. Send me back that email with that thing so I don't have to type in hww//.fqp fuck chock cock.
Get the hammer out, Ron. Get the hammer out.
All right.
So just before Ron gets back on, I was going to have some of his sponsor stuff in the background. I was going to get a bunch of his ammunition, but when I usually boost it from Ron, I normally just take the shells and just throw the boxes away so he doesn't know I have it. So
yeah, that's good. That's smart.
Just close them back up empty and just put them back. He'll never know.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Ron's got more shit in his garage than anybody I've ever met. When I was over there a month ago, I was like, God, I could just take a collar out of this box and a shotgun out of this case. Never know. He's never used any of the shit.
All right.
Question from Evan there. Yeah, if the person that wins the trivia is already a subscriber to Project Up, and we'll definitely extend you for a year. No problem. We should probably do 2 years if you're already a subscriber.
So what the hell have you guys been up to this week? We didn't get to hang out as much on Wednesday night as we normally do. So now I got to catch up while we're waiting for Ron to get this whole thing rolling.
Yeah. Roof, lead us off, man. What'd you do this week?
Well, it's pretty busy working at home because of quarantine. And actually kind of do a early coffee run and kind of sit outside a little bit and then just have at it. But it's been super busy.
It's important to be outside. I was starting to go pretty nuts a couple weeks ago when the weather was really shitty. Man, this week it's been in the 70s and 60s here in North Dakota, and I have not been inside any more than I've absolutely had to be.
That's good. Yeah, I would say that April has actually been a pretty cold month around here. And like we got a few nice days, but not quite as much as I think we should have. But then again, I live in Duluth, Minnesota, so I probably shouldn't expect much more than that. But we're going to get some nice weather this weekend. I don't know. I've been working from home and getting outside for my run with the dog every day, but that's about it. Screwing around in the backyard and chopping some wood and cleaning up some brush, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you should have been out here this week. I bought a bunch of chuckers from Susan, who's watching.
Oh yeah,
and I got to go and play with the dogs for like 5 hours the other day.
I saw some pictures.
Man, it was so much fun just to see the dogs go on point and actually feel a little recoil. I don't give a shit if it was pen race chuckers or not. It was fun.
Yeah, I bet that would be a nice little reprieve right now.
Yeah. Between that, I got the boat out this week. That was pretty fun. Oh, can you hear us?
Audio?
Are you faking now?
I don't know.
Oh, I can hear him.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's much better.
Why in the hell? I hate computers. Yeah. Why would one MacBook Pro do it and the other one not do it?
Buy Windows and you won't have that issue ever again.
I don't. My wife. I told you why. Did I not tell you why I got a MacBook Pro?
Yeah, because your daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter told me the porn won't give it a virus.
Right.
An awesome conversation to have with your daughter.
But she was of legal age at the time. It was about 10 years ago. She was about 22.
Oh boy.
Well, she's an IT-ish type person, so
she's a very
appropriate. It was an appropriate conversation.
Thank you.
Was it Roof? I mean, I would like to think that they've all kind of got at least that part of it mastered, but good Lord.
So Ronnie, I just told him how we met, how you guys, your dad sold the house and my parents bought it. So
we're caught up to.
Well, that's what we just stopped, and then we're just making fun of you not knowing how to work your computer. And
I knew that was weighing on me as I walked to the kennel and back. I'm like, those guys are making fun of me. I know they are. And rightly so.
Did it make you walk faster?
You know, it just makes me walk more tilted over the faster I go.
Downwind or upwind?
If I lean over anymore, my head's going to hit the door before my hand reaches the doorknob.
Are you here all week, Ron?
Hey,
we'll try to liver. Tip the waitresses.
So, did I miss anything besides a little intro?
No.
We're just kind of talking about the need to get out.
What we were doing.
Get outside during the shit.
I was splitting wood today. I bucked
There you
up
go.
a bunch of oak trees, and I was 12-pound mauling it like a. Yeah,
Did you go turkey hunting?
I did not. I'm gonna go turkey hunting in the morning though.
Did you go turkey hunting last Saturday morning, like you said you were going to do when we talked on Friday?
No, but I went on Monday.
Okay.
Listen. Is that good?
Sounds
No.
like ish. I don't know. If I was a
Oh,
turkey,
there it is. I heard a good one in there, but then it was Nick.
That wasn't mine.
No.
I saw about a dozen turkeys today.
Are 4 of them sitting up here?
I see 4 of them right now.
No,
You're
they-
exactly right.
They were all in a cooler at Whole Foods. About 12 of them.
Would they come
They
into
cost-
a call? Do you think?
Well,
Mm.
You know?
possibly.
Hey,
If they're
turkey.
thawed, if they're not thawed, you're going to need something to penetrate them.
Yeah.
Somebody,
All right.
somebody did.
Look at that. Nick did a good call. What about me, Chad? Jesus.
I just got
Hey,
that
Ron.
slate call last week, and I watched a YouTube video about slate call basics today. So I guess I'm doing all right.
Well, then I'll be able to do it. I'm guessing Ron did not shoot a turkey. Thank you, Jordan. Jordan's the guy who's got taffy right now, so I gotta be nice to him.
Jordan, you should try to get her house broke because she is not. Like as soon as you bring that dog in from outside, she pisses on the floor. So if you could throw in just a little bit of house training, that goes so far for Ron's floor
I'll give you-
in Virginia.
I'll give you 2 more months of advertising if you can get her house broke.
I got 6-week-old puppies right now that piss in the house less than that dog does. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, that dog is something else. You can take her out for 20 minutes. I think I reverse housebroke her. Like she firmly believes that when she's like, God, I wish he'd let me go in soon. I got to go to the bathroom. It's all backwards with her.
Well, she's got her insides and outsides reversed.
Right.
Kind of like a baby got their night and days reversed. Your dog's got the insides and
Yeah,
outsides reversed.
exactly.
It's very
called
common.
Falling in a dead cat. You no way. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jordan.
Okay. Now,
Oh,
Jordan,
so-
if you can only train Ron,
There you go.
we'll have everything fixed.
I'm porch trained.
Barely.
Well, I don't know. I think Ron pees outside more than he pees in the house anyway. So
Pees
I do.
outside more than his dog. I guarantee
Oh,
that.
right.
I said, should I share my story? No, that's probably not a good one. No, never
Well,
mind.
14 minutes into it, I suppose.
Yeah, let's wait till the second
wait for
hour.
a little bit. Yeah.
Let's wait till the second hour. Yeah.
Tell everybody about the trivia game that we're going to play in the second hour. Where did you get that from?
All right. This game came out in 1985. Right there. The Outdoor Life.
That's the year I was born.
I was going to say, was Nick even born then? I was only 2.
I was 2. Yeah.
And I got some highlighted, but I found this other game, and it's just called the Hunting and Fishing Trivia. And it's
Nice.
like a deck of cards. So I highlighted some of them. We'll see how. I mean, there's some of these that there's no point in reading them. So I highlighted some ones that I'm not sure how we should do it. If we should do it like go to Doug. If Doug doesn't get it, Roof tries. If
Yeah, we can do
otherwise,
that.
There you
if
go.
we're all trying to run our hand up,
Yep. That's a good idea.
and
Annie Oakley of trivia.
yeah,
You guys ever play the Annie Oakley shooting game with
Yep.
trap? Oh, it's
Yep.
super fun.
Very
If
fun.
somebody misses and somebody else gets to shoot it, and then you
Mhm.
got to keep on moving back pretty quick. You're shooting from the picnic tables.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you win?
Actually, I lost last time.
Good.
So we were so far back. We were way behind the 27-yard line, and we kept on hitting the bird. So we started shooting them one-handed. And I made the first 2, and then he hit the third one. I missed the third one.
Oh,
Shooting a 10-pound gun.
I was gonna say, what gun were you
One-handed,
shooting
kinda hard.
one-handed?
Yeah, at my 12 gauge. It was heavy.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
was really heavy. But I hit the first 2. I was
Yeah.
just tired of shooting. I was like, God, they're a long ways out there now.
Hey,
So-
Ron, Ronnie, I was telling him I was going to have some of your Backridge ammo behind me, the boxes.
Yeah.
When I boost the ammo from you, I leave the boxes. I just take the shells. So I don't have any of the boxes.
So you could stand up the individual shells, but it'd be hard to see them.
Right.
I see you got a nice shirt on there, Roof.
Oh yeah.
Got a pike?
Little pike gear. Yeah.
Nice.
Is that mine? Ron, did you send him my damn shirt?
Okay. All right, Tyler. If it's not there next week, it's on me.
Literally.
I left my shirt in. We don't wear the same size. I'm not concerned about him wearing it, but I left my shirt in the backseat of his truck when we were on our way back from North Carolina, and I was looking for it forever. And I called him, and he's like,
2 months.
God, 2 months. Yeah, he's like, God, I wonder if that's the one that I stuck in the. It was. He's like, yeah, I'll get it in the mail tomorrow. That was 2 weeks ago.
You don't want it mailing it. I've got an Alpha 100 somewhere in Philadelphia that he mailed to me 2 hours north of him. So
Are you trying to tell me that the United States Postal Service isn't reliable? Because if you are, I agree with you.
Have you
And
seen the people they hire?
I'll tell you
part
what.
of the problem, not part of the solution.
I think my Twin Lake post office, I sent a jump drive to Matt Giorio, and he lives in Michigan. It ended up 2 weeks to get to his house.
Wow.
And then I sent a pre-labeled one to Doug in the state of Michigan.
with my Alpha. So it's not a
With
little
your Alpha.
drive, it's an Alpha 100.
Yeah.
Gone.
And it's somewhere, we don't know where it's at. And then something else I mailed that so I don't know, maybe I should tie it to a pigeon or something, send it to you. I don't know.
I'll send you one of my birds.
Maybe your governor closed down the post office in Michigan. Maybe that's a problem.
You can't fish at the
strike
post
that.
office. The
Strike
post
that.
offices are open.
Strike that, yeah.
Rain, sleet, snow, or pandemic, mail's gonna go.
We have an
true.
organization. I would say Doug and I are the lucky ones. We have an organization called MUCC. They filed a lawsuit against Governor Whitmer about this motorboats and boats and motors, and it got rescinded today.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
You can't say motorboat on this show because that's not what I was thinking.
And here come the sound effects.
Oh, you are so immature.
I know. I can't help it. So we, when we talked earlier this week about kind of a direction that we wanted to take this show tonight, we knew it was going to be silly. We knew it was going to be fun. But me and Ron have a Patreon patron in common that sent Ron a question about, he's just getting into hunting, right, Ron? And he's trying to figure out,
just getting into it. And he just says he feels like there's so many obstacles, he doesn't know where to start.
right. And so we kind of wanted to all kind of talk. I mean, if you guys all listen to our podcasts, well, Doug and Roof don't have one yet. They should probably start one together. That'd be pretty fun. It'd be like the Odd Couple. But we were going to talk a little bit about kind of all of our individual starts in upland hunting, and also just to kind of go a little bit silly as well. I know for sure that I did so much shit completely backwards wrong now, and the learning curve years, because I mean, let's face it, North Dakota public school kid didn't get it real fast, but now looking back at things, there's a lot of things that I could have avoided if there would have been some outlet out there like any one of our 3 podcasts or good magazines or anything else. If I would have put in any effort, I probably would have been a lot better hunter a lot sooner. So,
to that point, you think about as old as Rusty and I are, Roof. I shouldn't start saying Rusty because nobody's even heard that version. It's actually Russell. It's actually Russell Wolf, but I don't know, other than my mom or dad, when he'd get in trouble or his mom would say Russell, that's about the only time you hear Russell. But
well, I showed him my ashtray. It's a dog dish with Rusty's name on it. So I got an ashtray with his name on it. So
I forgot that. We got Rusty's last call.
Yeah.
So what's kind of weird is I was thinking, like, when Rusty and I were starting out, there was no R3, there was no recruitment. It was only either self-propelled like ours was, or you were born into it. Mm-hmm. But then I'm thinking, you guys, even though you're a lot younger, there was really no R3 program when any of you guys started either, was there?
Not really, no.
Mm-mm. No, it was all family with me. Nick, I think it was with you too, right?
It was, yeah. It was my dad and uncle took me out the first couple times, and that was, I was like 10 or 11. But I remember being, and I've talked about this before, I got hooked on rough grouse right away. I was really interested in those birds. And living in Duluth, I mean, like where my house was, we had woods behind us, and I didn't actually know there was grouse there at the time. But I remember sometime soon after I went on my first rough grouse actual hunt, then my buddies and I started riding our mountain bikes through the woods with wrist rockets looking for grouse, and we found a few. I know we didn't bag many over the years, but it's just any. That yeah, we would go down to the railroad tracks and pick up the taconite pellets, sling those around until we started being able to bribe our mom to take us to Gander Mountain and get ball bearings and that sort of thing. But that was probably dangerous.
Pellet guns, man. Pellet guns was a revelation for me. There wasn't a squirrel or a cat or a robin that was safe in my neighborhood. Like I was indiscriminate. I used to hunt in I don't even know how many cottontails I killed in my neighborhood in the city limits of Minot with a high-powered pellet gun at like 7 years old.
22 caliber or the little
177.
Okay.
Yeah. I found out how many times you have to shoot a cottontail with a Red Ryder to kill it. It's a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
Not real effective.
I got a scar right here from a Red Ryder BB gun. I don't even know why it's never gone away, but I got a little.
Probably still has a pellet or a BB in there.
No, we told that story last week. I got that one out of my eyebrow.
Yeah.
But
so Ronnie, who got?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Tyler. So who got us out in the field first? Were we chasing? Was it Joe Gorman or was it David's dad?
No, it was the only connection we had in the whole. For you guys, just to kind of, I don't know if Roof drew this picture, but where we lived in Chicago, I mean, we never did it. But if you had those ninja skills you see on TV, you could jump from one roof of a house to the next roof of the house. That's how close our houses were.
Yeah.
I mean, we never tried it, but if you were one of them idiots that would try it, you could do it. So when I say in our neighborhood, there's probably, I don't know, 1,000 houses in our neighborhood, but you only kind of knew the people in a block and a half area, like there'd be a whole, like one street over, it'd be a bunch of different friends, and you didn't really ever hang out with them or know them because it was a different block. And even though you could see through the gangway, it was weird. So because Roof moved into my old house, I immediately went back to that block to hang out with my friends I already had established. So when I say in my neighborhood, there was probably some other hunter dads, but out of our group, there was only one dad, and that was Dave's dad that hunted rabbits and pheasants. He was from Minnesota. He was a bricklayer and super nice guy, but real quiet and wasn't friendly. And we were all scared to death of him because if you ever saw a bricklayer that can lay concrete blocks all day long, his forearm looks like
Popeye.
Yeah.
Like Popeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Greek Popeye.
He was Greek to boot. Yeah, he was a scary man, but he was really nice. And so Joe Gorman his dad got me into trap shooting on Sundays. And then we all kind of got into trap shooting then together on Friday nights. Once somebody had a license, I think Frank probably. And, but Dave's dad was the hunter, and I used to go with Dave, and me used to go with his dad, and we would bring our Ben Pearson bow and arrows with us, and for some reason think we were going to shoot a rabbit or a pheasant, which was just like ridiculous, but we went hunting. We went with his dad and his uncle Chuck, and we would just go with him for the day, and they might pop off a rabbit or a pheasant, and so the hunting part came really from the trap shooting part. And then we found the state of Illinois had these places where you could go where the state releases birds. And that's why Rusty and I got into it, because it was a road trip. We'd go down the night before, we'd get a box of beer or two. We'd have Frank's, what year Chevy was that, Roof?
I think it was a 61 Impala.
Ooh.
61 Impala. It had flat fins on it. And of course, we were all kids, you could sit 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and nobody was, elbowing anybody.
Yep.
And we would go down there, anywhere from 4 to 6 of us, and we would sleep in that car. And we'd get up in the morning and be in the will call line, and we'd go hunt on state property. So that's where we got it from. So I just don't know how somebody steered us there, but that was our R3, whatever that was back then.
Yeah, that would have been recruitment, I suppose.
A little precursor to that, though, Ron. We hunted in Buckley before we started hitting the state land.
So then David took us there because that's where his dad had permission.
Right.
Okay, I would agree with that. But
and then just a quick sidebar. That was back in, we're talking early 70s, mid 70s.
Right.
This David we're talking about 2 or 3 years ago was hunting on that land with the same letter that his dad got permission to hunt. And the game warden came in, he pulled out the letter from 1972 saying that he had permission. And after some chuckle and, meeting with the landowner, no harm, no foul, but
yeah,
he couldn't go, but
yeah,
not to bridge 40 years real quick like that, but it was a cute story.
Yeah, Dave thought for some reason once it's like that saying, if you can remember when the land wasn't posted, it's not trespassing.
Boy, if that was the case here in North Dakota, I'd be able to hunt pretty much anywhere I wanted to.
So when we would normally get permit at this land on like a Friday, we take off school or whatever, and then you could only get one permit for the weekend, and then like Ron was saying, we would stay on site, get put our car in line, or they'd let us know we're in line, and a lot of times we would let birds out the night before, and we were so naive. We're like, yeah, I remember I put 2 cocks over by this tree over here by this down log. Okay,
we got to know the DNR officers pretty good because we were there a lot.
Yeah,
and so they would. One time he said, "Hey, you guys want to take a ride?" We get on a flatbed truck, and we don't have no dogs, so we're on a flatbed truck, opening the crates and letting the birds fly out the night before. And we know we're going to try to go to like area 13 or area 17, and we'd be like, I think we're there. And we'd like throw extra birds out.
Yeah, right.
It never worked.
Right.
So I got to ask, I've always wanted to know, was it just like a big giant party in the line of cars the night before? Did you guys go and hang out with any of the other hunters, or were you guys kind of the only ones who stayed the night?
Well, there'd be people that came in, but there was mostly older guys. I didn't see people our age, Roof. I don't remember them.
Remember, we found out years later that your friend Jerry and Sue were there.
Jerry Chadwick, and he's 20 years older than me. I would say if I had to go on in front of a judge, I did not see another group of kids our age.
No, there would be people our age with their dads or with their uncles, but there was never ever a group of kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that's how we got our start. And that's why you're going to hear a podcast coming up about the Michigan Pheasant Initiative, where we're planting birds on public lands for the entertainment and for the sportsman to take his kid out, his grandkid out. We're not trying to get birds to repopulate. We know those birds are not wild, but for opportunity. And we've got some really good numbers. Nick from MUCC is going to come on. And we've got some really good numbers from last year. How many people came out that hadn't bought licenses in the past? And we're almost done with the pheasant stamp in the state. And if we get that, then we'll have a self-propagating pile of money to keep buying the birds from the Game Breeders Association. Michigan had that system in place for, I guess, the 70s and part of the 80s before I got here. Illinois still has it. Pennsylvania has it. New Jersey, believe it or not, Utah and Wyoming have it. I mean, there's like 23 states that have that system.
Are they going to just kind of like in Pennsylvania? Are they going to have people buy a pheasant stamp kind of a deal then too?
Yeah. That's what we want to get, because that pheasant stamp will give the funding, so we don't have to go to the state and ask for. We don't want to take money from Habitat or conservation.
Sure.
We want to pay for that.
Pennsylvania charged $20 for a license. That's what you charge for a single bird at a preserve. And people lost their shit.
People who had been doing it for years, like, I'm not paying $20. Those birds were always free. Well, you know what? They're not free anymore. Well,
Hey, Ronnie, why don't you tell the guys about the area where we lived in? Well, I'll explain the area first, and we'll talk about the cemeteries. We were kind of landlocked by a couple of sets of railroad tracks and cemeteries, so we were like a little triangle.
Yeah.
But the area where we grew up was probably really built out late 50s, maybe early 60s, right? There was a lot of
early mid 50s. Yeah, mid 50s.
mid 50s. So it was a lot of prairie land.
Mm-hmm.
And over in the cemeteries, it wasn't me mostly. It was Ron and one of our friends, Ricky. They used to hunt some pheasants out there along the tracks, and that was
with slingshots and bow and arrows and
right.
And like I said on what's his name's podcast on Travis's podcast, my first pheasant was a hen pheasant caught in a long spring trap with Elmer's glue and corn on the plate.
I still want to try that. It's got to work.
So you're the reason why there's no more pheasants over there. You killed the last hen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we certainly weren't. We weren't even old enough to get the game laws, you know. So
we weren't old enough to read them.
Old enough, just not smart enough.
Doug, what's Doug's start on? I've never asked him.
Yeah, I was born into it. My dad, I can't say that he's hunted. He liked the idea of hunting. I know he used to do it with his dad for sporadically growing up. But at my earliest memory with hunting, I was probably 7 or 8. We were living down in the Metro Detroit area. It might have even been Romeo at the time, and I went pheasant hunting with my dad and his buddy. And I don't remember a lot about the hunt, but I do remember the trip there. Just kind of feeling a little bit special, kind of being there with my dad and his friend and kind of being part of something. I forget who it was. I'm gonna guess it was probably my dad, but the trigger locks were left on the gun with no keys, so it was a big ordeal. So there really wasn't a ton of hunting, but there was something about that experience that kind of imprinted on me that it was something. It was my first time getting to go do something with my dad like that, that it was really impactful for me. My dad moved us up to Alpena a couple years later. I don't remember the exact, the timeline.
From Detroit to Alpena.
From Metro Detroit area. Yeah, my dad he used to work for my grandfather at a hydraulic shop. And my dad moved up there with the intention of being able to get us into hunting and fishing a lot more than we were able to do down in the Metro Detroit area. But he went from working for somebody to owning a business, so he didn't get a chance to do a lot of hunting because he was working for himself. But there was customers that became close with my parents that I had the privilege of getting to go out. So I got to do some deer hunting with some customers. The guy that owned the local gun shop, his kid took me duck hunting and kind of got me introduced to that. And then once I got a driver's license and in a vehicle, I was kind of on my own at that point and did it as often as I possibly could. What we thought was hunting really wasn't. We would go tromping around with a gun and go chasing in covers that I would never step foot in now, and think we were just the coolest kids around. But that's kind of mine. It was my dad. Even though that he has a passion for wanting to get back out there. There's just been so much time in it. But now that he's kind of partially retired, my hope is that we'll get him back in it and have get to share some of the experiences that we didn't get to do when we were younger.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I was recording a podcast earlier today, and we were talking about getting a driver's license and the kind of doors that opened up. Mm-hmm. And one of the most proud days of my outdoor life was right after I got my driver's license. And I was running a small trap line, probably 40, 50 traps before school, and then I'd go and finish them after school. And I did it all by myself. And this one day, I had this little, I wish I still had this truck. It was a little shitty Mazda B2300 pickup truck. It was the coolest thing ever, 2-wheel drive, and I thought I could go anywhere in that thing.
I had the Ford version of that, 94.
Nice. Mine was a 95. So, yeah. But it was that day in God, I want to say it was 40 traps. I caught 3 coyotes and a couple of fox, and I brought home 2 rooster pheasants and a limit of hunts. and I was like 16 years old, and I came pulling into my grandpa's driveway, and like the look on his face was just pure pride. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. You know, it's like I finally made it. Little did I know that I had done nothing of the sort. Like that was back when I would try to, for years after that, no dog until I was in my 20s. And I would see pheasants and I would go out and I'd try to kick them up out of cattail sloughs, which is really close to impossible. And occasionally I would get lucky and get one or two, but it was, man, the doors that opens up, and it just felt like an adult. You know what I mean? I felt more like an adult that day than I do now.
And I probably didn't become much of a consistent hunter until I got my driver's license. But before that, I would have a rod holder attached to a bike, and it wouldn't be anything to ride miles and miles and miles to go hit different fishing holes. And we probably spent the better part of every waking moment of our summer vacations sitting.
Have you ever gotten a stringer tangled up in your bike spokes?
No.
Done that.
Never done that.
I've ruined a couple backpacks with putting dead salmon in the back of them. I can tell you that. used to ride my bike to do a lot of fishing around Duluth. That's for sure. But yeah, the same for me with the driver's license. Once I got that, then I started really doing a lot more hunting.
Oh Lord!
Which ones are on?
Look at them handsome devils.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Ron's in the middle with his famous GQ pose.
And Rusty,
I've been seeing that thing for 55 years. You guys have only seen it for 10. So
is the date on that say 1922?
No, it's color film, Doug.
I was gonna say 2020. All those haircuts and hat styles look like
that's
they
Frank.
today.
Yeah,
That's Frank.
Does he have a bird in his mouth?
That's my sneaky Sam mustache. Look at
You got
that.
the Jones cap on, the old Jones cap.
Oh yeah, and then there's the roof.
jet black wavy hair,
Yeah, it is. And then
just like my Tinder profile.
just for you guys,
Jet black wavy hair,
It appears
athletic build.
customary to let the hair come out the front of the cap. That must have been a big deal back then.
and just to Rusty, to honor the anniversary this Sunday. Wait till you listen to my promo this Sunday. If you guys listen to it, 4/26 is this Sunday, and 4/26/80 is a very important day in my life. This is the day that my best buddy walked me right up the aisle.
To your first marriage?
Look at them shoes.
Yeah.
Look at that shit there.
Sharp.
Wow.
That is me and Roof 40 years ago this Sunday.
That's a lot of white.
Anybody else think it looks like they just got married to each other?
Hey,
So, happy anniversary, Debbie.
we were cool before it was cool.
That was excellent.
We've been saying there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, not at all.
Looked like a couple of milkmen.
Anyway, yeah, I thought you'd like that. I saw those
that's
pictures
right.
the other day.
4/26/80. Oh, I remember that. I remember that wedding for a lot of reasons, Ron.
Yeah, I know two of them.
Oh, Lord above.
Oh,
It was nice, though. It was nice. The best man speech that I gave Ron. I went back to it 5 years later when he married his special bride, his other wife now.
But
Yeah.
he just
I just updated it.
Just repurposed the speech.
all he did was scratch out the name Debbie and wrote the same, read it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told everybody on the intro, I said, when your future mother-in-law and your sister that you wouldn't take advice from about crossing a street both tell you not to get married to the woman, you ought to listen.
Yeah, that sounds like good advice.
Mm-hmm. I didn't heed it, but it was good advice.
Correct. Yeah.
So I want to hear about your guys' first hunting trip any place other than Illinois. Where did you guys go? When was that?
So, well, we got some good stories hunting in Michigan, but That's where I almost died at Ron's house.
Well, that would be when you came up and went duck hunting.
Oh, is that the staircase story?
The staircase story.
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't really drink much anymore. I really don't, just occasionally. Look at Ron. But when I'm with Ronnie, I have a tendency to.
He's the one who's a bad influence. There's no doubt about it at all.
But we were over by his friend Pete's house. Jeff, we absolutely love him. We were probably there till 11 o'clock at night. I didn't know we were getting up at 2 a.m. to go duck hunting. I thought, what's this? And I missed the step and fell down the stairs. But
no, it was. You got to picture this. So I tell the kids to double up in one of the rooms. They always our kids called each other. They call us uncles, just like we did to our friends of the family back in the 60s. And so Kelsey and Mackenzie had to vacate a room, or one of them had and Uncle Rusty got their room. And so all of our rooms are upstairs, and there's a center hallway that goes down. And so the alarm goes off at some ungodly hour. Like it was like 2:30. Jeff always had to be there before everybody for no particular reason. But we were. And I hear that it was a table alarm, and I hit it off, and I can hear footsteps in the hallway. And I will tell you the truth, we do have a screwed up staircase. When we designed this house, Sue and I did it with a color forms kit. And it's a steep staircase. It's not a real, it's pretty steep. And Rusty missed the first step. And all I heard was a 200-pound man going, his legs are hitting the walls. Oh, duels?
He missed the first step by accident, and then the rest of them disappeared.
He made so much noise, the whole house sounded like it was getting hit by a train. And I get out of bed, I flick the light on, I look down, and he's laying with his feet up. His back's on the floor. He's somehow got his left hand on the handrail. He says,
"Never let go. Safety first. Never
I'm okay. Go. I'm okay." I'm like, how could you be okay?
Right.
Well, he was still drunk.
Yeah,
it's like that scene in McClintock when John Wayne falls down the stairs 3 or 4 times. Kind of like that.
Yeah. There was no harm.
Well, then we go plopping out to this godforsaken swampland where I'm like, okay, this ain't bad.
It's called the Muskegon River Bottoms.
We'll just hop out of the boat and just wait for the duck to fly by. They didn't tell me you had to walk a mile in, waist high water
in the dark.
And I brought a lot of gear in too, didn't I, Ron?
Yeah. I thought we
were going to be out there all day, so I brought cookies and snacks and Milky Ways.
Wait a minute.
Candles.
It's better than that. So we got like 5 guys, and we got flashlights. It's like 3:30, 4 in the morning. Still 2.5 hours before you could shoot a duck. And as you're walking, it goes from knee deep to diaphragm deep. And we all got chest waders on. Rusty's got his gun in a case because it's easier than carrying it without a sling. He didn't have a sling. And he's got a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. And it says right on there, he went to the store, but it says Sportsman's Bucket.
I remember those.
And it had a
swivel seat.
Swivel seat.
So I used one for dove hunting.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I could pivot.
Well,
Still got one.
The problem with it is it's got a strap that's about that wide.
Yeah.
And when you put that over your shoulder, it starts cutting in here. It cut like a hangman's noose. And we got about a mile walk, and we're not even 3 blocks into it. He's like, guys, listen. And we're like 50 yards ahead of him. He goes, come here. 2 dogs are running loose. And me and Jeff and I think Scott, we walk back to him. He goes like, hey, how about we give them dogs a little break for a minute?
Let them catch their breath.
So,
but in the bucket though, I had like 8 boxes of shells, a pound of Milky Way bars, cookies. I had a Centrella candle. I had bug
Citronella candle.
Two citronella glass candles.
Yeah, with the plastic rings on them.
Yeah, because he heard it was going to be buggy out there. So we're gonna light candles.
That's right.
Landing lights.
So he just he's struggling. I mean, he's never walked in waders, never walked in a swamp, and he's behind. And I said, just follow the lights. And I think Mikey Rosema took your gun for you, or Bruce, or somebody.
On the way in, I carried everything on the way in. On the way out is where I started.
Oh, okay.
Like I was like Apollo 13 on the way out. I was shedding stuff. I was giving stuff away, man. But I carried the bucket
this
out.
Bucket?
Though.
You could have this bucket. You could
I
have
carried the
everything in
bucket
this
out.
bucket. Carry
You
out
know,
the bucket.
Nick talks about the Nick from the Red Rider. I still got a gouge in my shoulder from the bucket.
There you go.
Trip.
So we get so I can communicate with him. He's about 150 feet behind us or so. He sees us. We get to this big giant maple tree where we know there's no more people. We're going to set up our camp there. And I can see the flashlight coming, you know, it's wandering, it's wobbling.
Like Walter Brennan coming through the swamp.
he gets within 10 feet of us. And there's one maple tree. I mean, there's a lot of maple trees that get storm damage, and it's laying across. You got to get your leg up and over this to get to us. He's got the sportsman's bucket over his shoulder, the gun in his other hand. He puts his leg up and over that thing about halfway over, and he goes,
Boosh!
right back into the swamp. And so we help him get up, and we get him all situated, and we open up that bucket. And that bucket weighed 40 pounds. I mean, I wouldn't work out with a kettlebell that weighed that much. It had enough shells for a weekend for everybody, 2 candles, a three tuber Oreos. I mean, it had. I was like, everything. But anyway,
Renaissance man. I don't know if we were going to be stuck out there.
You almost were stuck out there forever.
Yeah.
You almost were. So that was our.
That certainly wasn't our. That was my first time duck hunting though. So that was my first duck hunting experience.
I thought that was before we ever went to South Dakota though. Pretty sure. Pretty sure it was.
I don't know.
What was the year that you
No,
guys
I
first
think
made
no,
your
because
trip?
I had that Hunter Gold. I think I was hunting with that Hunter Gold. I can't remember.
Yeah.
What was
maybe.
What was the year that you guys made your first trip west? Do you remember?
First
90s,
time
80s?
I went with Ron was 96.
Okay.
So I had been going before that, and Roof came in 2 years or 3 years later. I can't remember.
I think I was at your third trip out there. I was with you.
Yeah.
Was that when you took the big giant cabin tent, or were you guys hoteling it at that point?
No, we were in a Shady Rest motel at that point, but then we ramped it up and we bought the big canvas tent from Cabela's.
Those things are sweet.
That was nice. That was sweet.
We had carpet, wood stove.
Nice.
I brought a trailer. We had a picnic table, like a round table with 4 chairs. We had a grill. We also had a windstorm that came through that almost took it all away.
You guys having to like lay on the tent quarters to keep her from lifting off? You feel your ass coming off the ground. You're like, oh god, it's getting serious.
We were staying on an Indian reservation, and the land we were on was Army Corps engineers, I think, by the dam.
Yep.
Down
So
by the
when
Missouri.
right, exactly. So when we went into Fort Thompson to get our license from the local Indian tribe, but I was telling one guy we're in the cabin tent down by the dam, and he looked at me and says, "Yeah, we know." So they knew we were there. That's for sure. That was an experience.
Where were you guys bathing, Ron? Was that when you jumped in the river?
Well, yeah. Roof and Bob decided to boil water and take little horror baths by the truck, and I'm like,
PTA bath. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, come
PTA,
on.
right.
There's a river right here. Let's just.
Be civilized.
Yeah.
Harken
down
back,
by the
harken
river
back
with
to
it.
your Chicago public school swimming days.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
I like being naked in the water, Nick.
In front of men.
In front of me.
Yeah, there
Funny
weren't
thing-
any squaws around.
Funny thing was, I couldn't get anybody to go in the river with me.
Weird. Very strange. Were you warming it up a little bit as you jumped in, as you peed a little bit because
Oh
that
my
water was
God.
like 48 degrees?
My God, you talk about like when you blow up a beach ball for playing volleyball, and it's got the little stem, and then when you
push it in.
when you push it in to play volleyball, that's what happened to my penis when I got into the Missouri River.
Oh,
I didn't see the head of that thing for 2 days.
Just spelled it right out. You didn't even try to dance around.
oh,
It went back in, and I almost had to change gender.
Oh, jeez. How was your guys' hunt when you were out there though in '96? That was pretty good hunting then.
It was pretty good, but we just had some bad drunk Indian guides. But there was birds out there.
yeah, there
Yeah.
was birds. Yeah.
That was low water back then, right? So you guys could hunt. Was there a lot of cover right along the river you guys could hunt
Yeah,
as well, or was it just a reservation?
No, along the river too. Yeah.
Right. There were some nice grasslands along the river, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty fun when
Right.
the lower the water gets. And it can be miserable too. It's like it can be head high, and those pheasants just run forever. But there's a lot of birds along those rivers.
I'm from Chicago, and Ron always says I'm paranoid about locking up stuff, right? So I was telling the one guy, we left a lot of guns in the tent, and we would leave, right? And I told the one guy, and I wasn't being a smartass at all. I said, if the guns come up missing, I'm going to come to town looking for them. And he looked at me and he says, well, that's where they'll be. They won't leave the reservation. So, okay. So now we're going to have a shootout? But there was no issues with that at all.
When me and Ron got to Pheasant Fest, he doesn't lock his truck ever. So any of you guys that do see the Hunting Dog podcast truck, anything in it for giveaway.
Just borrow it. Just borrow it.
Yeah, the keys are
Orion
easily
coolers
in
in the back that are pretty nice.
And that Orion cooler, I couldn't believe nobody stole that thing out of the box of the truck. But I got all the way up to the hotel room and I realized I left my wallet sitting right in the dash in downtown Minneapolis in an unlocked truck in a hotel parking garage. And I was like, fuck. Like running back down there, I was like, Ron, I need the keys. He's like, no, you don't. It's like just the keys are in it. Like, what do you need?
We're going heavy duty.
Ooh.
Nice.
I was going to try to behave myself and have a beer and then switch to water, but I'm going to have to go get a bourbon here in about 2 minutes. So
Why would you do something like that?
I'm going to work again tomorrow, and I'm
that's
really.
right. That's right.
I just got off 5 days of drinking. It's been a long week.
When you go in tomorrow, will you go find my Alpha in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Send Doug to track. Send Tyler to tracking number. Hey, let's go back. Let's go back before we kill this. We almost killed the first hour. About his question about obstacles getting into the. I could be a smart ass and say there are no obstacles. You just got to have desire. Mm-hmm. But I kind of get it. I guess. See if you guys agree or disagree. First thing you got to do, you got to learn. Like if you are really saying, I just want to hunt, but you got to have some shooting experience. You got to practice with a gun. That thing will. I mean, I don't want to sound stupid. That thing will kill somebody. It's a gun. Yeah. You need to get proficient with a gun. You don't have to have a dog. You're probably not going to get a lot of birds, but you don't have to have a gun. You can go small game hunting, even if you just rabbit or squirrel. But here's the thing that, I think we all have a different path, except maybe me and Rusty, is all you got to do is find one friend dumb enough to go with you, and you'll make your adventures.
That's the thing, is that you have to find somebody else who wants to do the same thing.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have done it by myself.
Yeah, right. If I didn't become friends with my best friend Mike, I wouldn't have hunted nearly as much as I did, and I certainly wouldn't have done half the stupid shit that I did. Mm-hmm. But I also wouldn't have a quarter of the stories. You know what I mean? Right. But we were terrible. We shot ducks because you can shoot ducks off the road, basically. We were not good hunters because we didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. But we just wanted to be out doing something. and that was enough to at least get us started down the right path.
Right.
And if you can't find a friend, there's enough organizations like RGS or Pheasants Forever that hold meetings close to you or in your town that you can go and just pop in, volunteer, sit, ask questions. And once you start pitching in, it's amazing how many of them are willing to show you the ropes or get you out or get you at least in the right position to be successful.
Yeah, you can get mentored for sure from a conservation group for sure, but you're going to have to volunteer. You got to put your time in. But
I'm going to get a bourbon.
Okay, no problem.
Happy hour starts in 4 minutes, so you better hurry.
Yep.
So one of the biggest takeaways I learned as a young hunter, and Ron, I learned it from you, but you give credit to David all the time, our friend David. Always take that last pass around this one piece of cover, even if the cover is 50 yards away, walk out there, canter around it, come back, always make that last cast, and sometimes it's very productive. You do that all the time, Ron, and I've learned that from you, but
Dave
give credit to David on that.
I do, because when we'd be like ready to go to truck, and Dave would take one more loop. And all I did was he would get a bird once in a blue moon, but it was enough to make him do it, and it was enough to make me realize when I was really seriously hunting, like, you know what? We need a turn here, but I got to get to that corner post. And I heard another guy on somebody's podcast, not sure whose, talk about when he's hunting any field, he will always go to the corner post of a property and touch it because he knows he pushed that, if that bird, especially pheasants, that he went all the way to the corner and gave it every bit of that piece of property. But again, like I said, obstacles, I'd like to think that, I can't remember the guy's name and I apologize. You got to have one buddy. If not, join a group and find somebody like-minded. And, there's no farmers.com for hunting buddies. I wish there was.
Yeah.
But if you can find a buddy to do it, you can go all the way to South Dakota. And me and Rusty went 2 years ago, and he got one bird, and I got I don't know. We didn't get hardly any birds at all. But it wasn't about that. It was about going hunting with your friends.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, are you? Is it Kevin that wrote you guys? I know that he's probably the mutual between the two of you guys. Is it? Kevin Z.
It might be. Yeah.
So a little backstory. Kevin is actually located in Canada, so I don't know if maybe there's not the conservation groups that they have here in the U.S.
You might not. Yeah.
Not available in Canada, so I don't know if that would be an option. But definitely, I think using Facebook groups and going out and searching some of those platforms, that the Project Upfront platform, there's a lot of folks in that group there that have that are from Canada, and just kind of letting people know where you're at and what you're looking to accomplish.
Yeah.
Bird Dog Fanatics is another great Facebook group. You can jump in there. There's a lot of groups on Facebook that you can just, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm looking to accomplish. This is where I'm located. I'm looking for a mentor. I'll schlep. I'll do this. I'll do that. Volunteer your time, and you'll be surprised on how using social media to find the people to get you out in the field, it can really work for you.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I'm ashamed that I didn't. If you've got a NAVDA chapter anywhere near you, you go, you shake hands, you introduce yourself. I don't care if you have a dog or not. I guarantee. Look at this. Joe just wrote, NAVDA has some guys that will hunt with anybody.
Yep.
You get to a NAVDA chapter, and as long as you're not a complete wallflower, you'll go to a NAVDA chapter. Someone's going to take you under your wing, and you're going to get some hunting in, and then you can turn into a solo hunter later on. But it's
not as much fun. It's not as much fun being a solo hunter at all.
Like Remy Warren with a camera on his back. I think he's an idiot.
I agree.
Matt Ranella goes to the mountains and chases elk for 21 days over two or three trips by himself with a llama.
That's intense.
That's probably biblically incorrect, but that's not my kind of hunting. Bird hunters we're buddies. Billy Hans is at it again.
The guy's our best commenter. There's just no doubt about it, man. All right. Cheers, folks. 8 o'clock.
Well, that's it, huh?
8 o'clock.
Yep.
Hey.
Happy hour, folks.
Hey, Ron, you see this koozie?
Yeah.
I got this in that bar in Tyndall on election night in South Dakota. That old bank that turned into a bar.
Really?
Bartender gave me this.
No shit.
Yep.
And was it called Rusty's?
No. He just happened to have a koozie with Rusty on it.
Okay.
Tyndall.
I think I actually asked him for it too.
Yeah, Tyndall is way down southeast South Dakota. And when we went there was plenty of birds, but you go there now, there's not many birds. Yeah.
Well, we were just there
Right.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah, there wasn't many.
Wes is a good example of a guy who used to never hunt with anybody else, and then he came up here and hunted with Bruce and Terry and all those guys, and realized that that's just way too much fun to miss.
Yeah, I got to meet him finally. I didn't know he was a solo hunter. What a dum-dum.
I know. Yeah, it was him and his wife. Him and his wife went all the way up into the northwest corner of Montana for like a week chasing mountain grouse. He also did Hell's Canyon by himself. It's like,
well, I'll reiterate, what a dum-dum.
Right.
Well, I hunt solo probably 90% of the time.
It's not
What a dum-dum.
Maybe.
It's not.
No,
as much
you know
fun.
what, Doug? I mean, and I think Nick might be the same way. You got young kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's even hard to get the time to go for 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
So then to coordinate with your buddy, when you know darn right well that the kids might be sick, or it's different. It's different.
Yeah. I do plenty of solo hunting now, but obviously the highlights of my season are the weekends that I coordinate to get out with my buddies and stuff. But yeah, I live in an area where I can go hunt by myself, and at that point, it's at the drop of a hat. You go when you can. But to echo all your guys' points, I mean, having like those close friends that would do it with me, that was a huge motivator early on, and that's how you kind of get through those initial hurdles. I mean, that's a big help. And I actually talked to Kevin Z a little bit too. He was saying that he's in Canada, so he was like not connecting with the right people. And you know, some people can be a little bit more, maybe upland hunters can be a little bit more reserved at some point, like as far as taking somebody out. But if you keep at it, I think you'll find the right person.
It's easier to get secrets out of the CIA than it is to get spots out of a Michigan grouse hunter. I'm telling you right now, like it is hard. And there are certain things like that. But now, as far as like pheasant hunting goes, it's beneficial to hunt with a group because you can actually use blockers. You can have people pushing some cover, stuff like that. And there's always somebody who wants to block. It's never me, but there's always somebody.
And you know what? If he's still struggling next year, all he's got to do is join Tyler's Patreon thing, and he'll be able to come out to Tyler's place and hunt.
That's right.
Yep.
Tyler has invited more people to North Dakota. I'm surprised the population hasn't increased.
I'm waiting for the North Dakota Chamber of Commerce to start writing me a check because I am. Like, this is a one-way street here.
You have brought a lot of dollars into Northwest North Dakota.
Yeah, I have.
Got some of my dollars.
Yeah, I know I have. Yeah, and it's you know, and kind of like what Nick was saying. I love hunting with the groups, and I do get out a fair amount by myself, just because let's face it, nobody has free time like I do.
Yeah.
So
that's just illegal.
Well, it's not illegal. Come on now, it's just it's good choices on my part, Ronald.
Don't be jealous,
right? Don't hate the player, hate the game, kind of a deal. But
don't ever say that again.
I said, don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah,
don't ever say that again.
I can't.
I like it.
Hey, we're in a loop.
Don't ever say that again.
Don't ever say that again.
Doug's computer's glitching. I think he just keeps on repeating the same thing. But
how does he know I shot somebody?
I don't know. Maybe
he
last
told
week.
the story last week.
Maybe he's confusing my story. Oh no, you did say that you shot someone, didn't you?
Yeah. Damn it.
And then you shot at somebody else in the parking lot and all that stuff.
Chicago gang war or something.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to
Kingpin.
Where that happened on the south side, this is a true story. I used to bring people by the garage and point to the bullet where the bullet was still lodged in the frame of the garage.
Thankfully, not in somebody's
There's people
chest.
in my life, I won't name names, that have seen that.
Sorry, As long as Hans tells me never say it again, I won't ever say it again. I respect that man. The rest of you guys, not so much.
Screw you, Tyler.
Somebody else commented earlier about sometime we all talked about having like somewhat limited resources, or we obviously none of us had the access to information when we were younger. Now there's information overload. So I'm obviously I'm a advocate of, you can go out and find whatever you want. You have to weed through some garbage every once in a while, but I'm still a pretty big advocate of like books, because books are, if you know the author or it's like a well-reviewed book, it's organized in a way that if you know you want a grouse hunt or you want a pheasant hunt, I mean, look for a good book that's well-reviewed, because then you kind of have like an organized piece of information that can give you a little background. And none of that's going to mean anything until you get out in the woods and apply it, but it can help build your base
desire.
of knowledge. I think,
and it can also help build your desire.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The stories and everything.
You read a good story, man. You want to be. You want to. I remember watching. Now, this is 1970. God, somebody can look this up. Doug, you got to have a computer on the side to do all the.
I got one.
Okay. When did Jeremiah Johnson come out? 1971.
Oh yeah.
1972 or 1971.
All right.
Sounds about right.
Cool. And it was to Nick's point about a good book.
72.
72.
Yep.
So back when I was a kid in Chicago, for an afternoon matinee theater at Ford City, it was a closest thing we had to a mall, and you could get 6 Pepsi bottle caps, which we would just go into garbage cans and dig through garbage cans at gas stations. And if you had 6 Pepsi bottle caps, it was called Pepsi-O-Rama, and you could go see a movie. And I went and saw Jeremiah Johnson. I remember I went with Ricky to see Jeremiah Johnson.
Nice.
And talk about a book getting you excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a mountain man. I mean, there was like 4 more years in a row where I wanted to be a mountain man.
Right.
So it just made me think about the fact that Nick was talking about a book or a movie. It can motivate you to say, no, damn it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
There's lots of inspiration out there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Ron's not telling the chapter 2 of that story though. He quit. That? He gave up Jeremiah Johnson and he started watching Billy Jack movies. So then he thought he was going to be an indigenous person that knows martial arts. So.
Somebody told me we had Indian in the Donovan side. I didn't know.
Donovan, yeah, that's a real solid native last name right there. Yeah.
Oh my God, what is that, Roof? Oh my God, that terrible old bolt action.
So here's an old
410.
Yeah,
this is an old 410
bolt action.
It's a bolt action. It's got the chamber flag in it. Everything's clear. It's safe. This is a model. I think it's a model 54A. Now this could have been manufactured at the turn of the century, but at the latest, pre-World War II.
Maker.
It's a Springfield Savage.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think I had one similar to that. I shot my first hunt with a gun just like that, and I closed my eyes, I believe.
And if you could see our friend Joe lopped off the piece of wood here and inlaid a little piece of black walnut.
Nice.
So it's kind of neat. It needs to be cleaned up a little, but even this was one of the first guns I used to hunt with. Even though I had access to some 12 gauges and stuff, I just like carrying this little guy.
The only thing wrong with a bolt action, whoever designed that was not thinking of the second shot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well.
No. Well, really,
I normally don't need a second shot, so I wasn't too concerned.
Set them up for it.
It really is like a squirrel rabbit gun is really what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. We could never really figure out whose it was. I believe it was. We think my grandpa bought it, and then my uncle. I got it from my uncle, who was a priest on some land in Kansas, and he said he used to shoot rabbits and squirrels with it. So. Who knows?
Nick, that question about a good grouse book has been up a couple times. I don't know any because I've never read any grouse books. I've always read stuff farther to the west, and I can barely read. So, What are some good ones?
Yeah, so there's the classics that I see mentioned over in the side, the Burton Spillers and the William Harden Foster's New England Grouse Shooting. Those are some of the classics. There's a lot out there. I mean, there's a ton. This is kind of an obscure one, but I recommended this to somebody last week. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this. It's called Timberdoodle Tales. And it's about a Minnesota woodcock and grouse hunter. One of my favorite books because because I'm in Minnesota, but it's just a collection of short stories. And the guy talks about building a cabin and stuff. It's really, really good. And a couple of people that I recommended, or one person actually picked it up and got it and liked it. But I mean, I've got a couple of books here from, I think I mentioned this before. This is Grouse Hunter's Almanac. This is written by Mark Parman. He's a Wisconsin author. These are more contemporary grouse books. He's written 2 of them, Among the Aspen. This book right here is like, if you are like looking for just to kind of like get a feel for what's out there, this is Bear November Days. It's a companion book set with Come October. Come October is woodcock, and Bear November Days is grouse. These are collections of like some of the best rough grouse and woodcock authors around that are kind of like not necessarily the old time classics, but more within the last 50 years, I would say. Those are 2 awesome books. But the rough grouse and woodcock world is pretty rich as far as literature goes.
You know, there's a reason for that, Nick. When people started coming to this country, everybody in New England was pretty well educated and they could write. The rest of the dummies went to Illinois, Ohio, North Dakota. All they had to do was make an X on the paper.
That's how I signed my contract. Yeah.
Make my mark. Yes, somebody's giving the ND guys crap in the sidebar.
I don't read so good.
Yeah. What are good grouse books? That's kind of an easy one. Like, what are the good pheasant books? I know everybody always mentions Charlie Waterman. He was kind of a Western hunter. I think did he write the book Hunter's Road, or is that Fergus?
I think that might be Fergus.
Yeah, there's a book called Hunter's Road that's super highly recommended. I haven't read it yet, but yeah, there's some good stuff out there.
Hey, if you want to, if you're looking for good books, Glenn Blackwood.
Yeah.
Glenn Blackwood with the Great Lakes Fly Shop in Rockford, Michigan. It's like walking back into time in his place. Yeah. It's a fly fishing shop, and the left side of it, about the 1/4 of it, is just books stacked up in shelves and boxes, and it's mostly upland dog related. There's some deer hunting and stuff in there. Yeah. He goes to estate sales and buys old hunting books, and then he has ones that are newly released as well. But yeah, look up if you ever, and he'll talk to anybody. Glenn will talk as much as I will.
Oh yeah.
So
he's now the regional director for Rough Grouse Society in Michigan. And
that's right.
I bought the Come October and Bear November. I bought those books from Glenn.
Did you?
In Michigan a few years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a lot out there.
So what do you think, guys? Maybe we should.
Steve Smith is a good one. I got a book up there by him. Yeah, he's one of my favorites, and he was good. Like, I learned this. He wrote a book in conjunction with Gene Hill. He was good buddies with Gene Hill. I think we might have talked about this in the previous week, but they wrote a book called Whispering Wings of Autumn. That's a really good rough grouse and woodcock book too.
Well, I see. Is Doug sending us messages over here?
Private chat.
Well,
should we talk about the private chat on the live chat?
I don't know. Good question, Nick.
Let's do some trivia, Ron.
Well, let me just talk about the book I have out here in the shed out here. It's a book of Celtic wisdom.
Is it Celtic or Celtic?
Celtic.
I'm from Chicago. Celtic.
Did Larry Bird write it?
Like Boston, like the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, come on, Nick. With a name like Nick, you're asking the guy from Chicago that? Come on. It's from my my sister-in-law brought it to me from Ireland. It's very nice.
All right. What we're gonna do is instead of like I picked out a bunch of them, but as long as we're gonna have all you guys like in a circle. I'm going to go from Doug
Yeah.
to Roof to Nick to Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay, so Doug's going to get and I'm just going to go. I mean, there's some.
Wait, Ron. Wait. Let me do an intro question first for you, Ron.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to ask you 2 different options to go hunting with a type of dog. Ron, would you want to go hunting with a Brittany, a Brittany, or
B?
you're supposed to say B,
Yeah,
Ron.
there you go.
Come on. I didn't think we had to rehearse that.
I thought we did rehearse that because it was a Labradoodle, right?
Well, yeah. You threw me off. You threw me off a little bit.
All right, you want to redo it, Ron?
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's run it again.
All right, Rod. So I'm going to give you a couple options to go hunting tomorrow with some dogs. Option A, go hunt with a Brittany, or
B.
that's not right, Roddy. That's not right.
That's not right.
Watch for
That's
the
not
Brittany folks in the comments. Watch out.
No
for
kidding. That's right. And my neighbor's listening too.
Take 2.
Oh, Sid, he's got some nice Brittany's.
He sure does.
All right. So this is to Doug. If your canoe overturns in a river, what should you do?
Climb on top of it.
I can't give you that one.
Huh. So it goes to Roof?
Yeah. Roof, if your canoe overturns in a river, what should you do?
Well, I would just let it go because if I'm standing on the bank, if there was a canoe, so I just let it go.
Nick, it's to you.
Really?
Yeah.
It probably has to do with the flotation under the seats, but go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I would have maybe said just like hold on to it, but there's a lot of variables there.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you because it says
There's an air pocket.
stay with the canoe and
Okay.
get to the upstream end of it. So
Okay.
you're closer than the other two mooks.
My riversmanship I would not have come up with the get to the upstream part of it, but that does make sense actually.
Yeah.
So you don't get
I don't know. I still think mine's the best. Go on.
All right. So this is to Tyler. How long does it take for an elk's antlers to attain full growth? This is in months. I'm going to give you that.
Oh.
3 months.
Doug?
I'm gonna say a month and a half. That's actually wrong.
Rusty, Roof, how long does it take for an elk's antlers to grow? Full length, full growth.
4 months.
Bingo!
Nice.
I can't. How did you get that? You never hunted elk.
I've never.
Doesn't mean I don't know how long it takes for his antlers to grow.
All right. Now, Nick, you're up.
All right.
What is the weight range of the average beagle?
The average beagle.
I got a beagle
So
story.
it's a range, but it's an average. 25 to 45.
Oh, good God, no. 45 pounds for a beagle? Are you kidding me?
No way.
Fat beagles.
Tyler, give me another.
I'm going to say 20 to 30 pounds tops.
Okay,
20 to 25 pounds.
that's way off. Roof, you got any idea?
25, 34.
I'm going to give it to Tyler. 20 to 40. You said 20 to 35.
So I got a beagle story. A friend of mine, the guy who was just up here last week, he had a beagle forever, and that dog climbed somehow or another. I don't know how a beagle could jump up onto a counter to get a loaf of bread, but it ate 2 entire loaves of bread. And when he came home, that thing was laying on its back in the middle of his kitchen floor, distended, and couldn't even get up to move. And then on top of that, a couple weeks later, it also ate 48 chocolate chip cookies in one setting. So I could see how a beagle could get really fat.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I'm with it.
My wife has a similar story. They had a beagle when she was growing up, and there was a rotisserie chicken on the kitchen table. Beagle jumped up, ate the entire thing. There was nothing left. And it was on the floor crawling around for the rest of the night.
see, I could see how a basset hound could get to 40 pounds, but
I'd say
not a beagle.
Google actually says you're wrong. Google says the average weight of a beagle is 15 to 30 pounds.
Yeah, well, Ron's trivia was made in 1985, so
Hey, this is all we have to go with right here. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
that's the gospel right there.
Fishing
And then
trivia.
a 13-inch beagle, a 15-inch beagle. I mean, what are we talking about here?
All right, so we got that one that goes to Tyler. All right, so up to Doug. What kind of knot is used on a mooring line to pass over a cleat?
Ooh.
A mowing.
It's very
The only
common knot.
knot I know is a half hitch. So
Roof?
I hope Nick
Loop.
gets this one.
Loop.
Is it a bowline?
Bingo!
Yeah.
Look at that guy go.
I was hoping he'd get it because I know what it is. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know how to tie it.
You don't tie it.
Okay, Tyler should get this one. No, and he's up. Besides speed, what other factors are considered in leading your target?
Distance is definitely in there. Speed of the target is definitely going to be in there.
Well, besides speed.
Oh, okay. So
Distance?
speed of shot and speed of target are going to have something to do with it, as well as shot string length, distance, all that stuff.
If I'm going to give it to Tyler, and if anybody can't come up with the other variable, distance is one of them.
Wind.
There's one other variable.
Yeah, this is again according to this
Yeah,
old game.
Yeah.
Besides
Wind?
speed, what
Wind?
other factors are considered in leading
Angle.
your target when you're leading your target? Distance and
Doug, you said
I
angle.
was gonna say angle and direction.
direction.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's an
Oh,
obvious
yeah,
one,
sure.
but
Yeah.
All right, we're going to split that one.
I'll take it.
Oh, I didn't know this one. So who's up on this one, Doug?
Yeah.
I
No, roof.
Roof. Which is the most important part of your gun? The safety, the trigger, or the sight?
that's a trick question. Or
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, give me the three again.
it's a
The trigger,
leading
the
question.
trigger, the safety, or sight?
But
Well, if you take away gun safety out of it and look at it as hunting, would be sight.
Yeah, safety.
Yeah, they're gonna say there. It's a leading question.
Yeah. Right.
40 years ago, they went with safety.
Yeah. Right.
All right, Nick's up. What is the most common? Oh, easy. Slam dunker. What is the most common wood used for gun stocks?
Walnut,
American
Yeah.
walnut.
American walnut.
All right, Tyler. What are the early, why I would ask Tyler this, I have no idea, unless he was in a bar. What are the early signs of snow blindness?
I could answer what the early signs of alcohol blindness are. I can
Okay.
tell you that.
I got a feeling that the answer is going to be very similar.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Depth perception. Loss of depth perception.
Early signs. Anybody got that, Doug?
I would say disorientation, and I know that gritty eyes. It's kind of like your eyes start feeling like sandpaper.
You got a little bit of it with gritty. Anybody else?
Headache,
Dry. Totally dry.
squinting.
Squint.
Squinting. Squinting and eye discomfort.
Okay.
It's a lot like being drunk.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Dried out.
Okay. Who's up now?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Roof.
Roof.
Yeah.
This is a true or false question. The
B.
moose or a moose must get down on its knees to graze on grass. True or false?
A moose.
Because
A
it's
moose.
so tall.
Meese.
If there's more than one moose.
Mm-hmm.
Graze on grass. I'm going to say false.
There's
Nope.
a time limit.
True. Because it has a very short neck.
Huh. Yeah, it's tall.
Yeah, there you
You know,
go.
that question, I should have used some strategies to answer that question. They wouldn't give that question if it was a false. I should have went with true. Let's redo. Roll back the tape.
Well, now I don't know how you're going to get this one, Nick. What does a hibernating woodchuck's temperature drop to? Now, you get three choices, though.
Okay.
80, 56, or 37.
God.
They're trying to bait me with the 37, so I'll go with 56.
I would have went with that, too.
Gotta be 80.
36.
37.
Wow, really?
Wow.
I was thinking above freezing, obviously, but interesting.
You
That's
talk
cold.
about not burning any calories, right?
Yeah, that's low.
And I was thinking there's no way because ground, I don't know how far down you got to dig it, but if you dig far enough down, the ground is always 50 degrees.
Yeah.
42 inches in Chicago.
Yeah. But anyway, they say 37. All right, Tyler.
Yep.
Which bears of North America are the most carnivorous of all?
Short-faced.
Coastal brown bears. Really?
Most carnivorous.
Most carnivorous.
Salmon.
Black bears.
Polar bears.
Polar bears for sure.
Oh,
God
yeah.
damn it.
All they eat is seals,
North America.
blubber, and walruses.
God, they said North
and
America.
All right.
I thought all they drank were Coke. You ever see a commercial with them eating a fish? No, they're drinking a bottle of Coke.
Okay, he's going to bed, guys. So
Good night, buddy.
Hunter's going to
Bye,
bed.
little Nick.
Don't do anything you saw here.
No.
Is
And
his name
don't
Hunter?
listen to these guys. Okay, buddy. We'll see
Is
you.
his name
see you later.
Hunter?
Yes, his name's
Hey,
Hunter.
Ronnie, how much does a polar bear weigh again?
Enough to break the ice. How you doing? My name is Ron.
That was Ronnie's pickup line back in high
Oh
school.
my God. Did it work ever?
He'd go up to a girl and say, "Hey, how much does a polar bear weigh?" And she says, "Oh, I don't know. How much?" And he'd say, "Enough to break the ice. Hi, I'm Ron."
Oh my God.
Another flashback
Ron.
of losses.
Jeez.
That's how I ended up. That's how I ended up with that 40-year anniversary.
I'm so glad your kid didn't have to see that, Nick.
Oh, there's a good question from Randy. Let's get that on screen.
What is it? Oh,
Oh.
who was the? Oh, boy.
My son's gone.
Ron, at some point your wife was watching, so you may want to be careful how you answer this.
Well, no, I mean she knows me. She knows me. Roof, I'm going to say I was.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Busting out the gin.
This stuff's good.
Yeah, we'll give that one to Ron. Ron was looking for love in all the wrong places all the time.
And I would only say that because I got married twice, so there was those years in between where Rusty was already married and then never was unmarried. So
Ronnie was looking for love in all the wrong places, like I said.
all right, I'm gonna go. Who's up? Doesn't matter. All right, anybody get this? All right, no, I'm gonna go to Roof. Roof has a little training in this department.
All right, here we
If a
go.
large blood vessel is severed, how long could it take for you to bleed to death? In minutes.
Multiple choice? Oh,
No range. If a
I
large
think
blood vessel is severed.
I think
I
you
know.
could bleed out in about 6 minutes.
All right, Nick, what do you think?
I was gonna say 3.
That's not bad. Nick,
Tyler?
Colin,
I'd say 8 to 10. I'm giving a
you're,
range.
you're off.
Okay.
Doug, what do you got?
I was going to say 2 to 3 minutes.
Well, it is 3 to 5. So
3 to 5.
Nick had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Major
Watch
artery.
that clock go around your wrist.
They did say major vein, not major artery. Just
Yeah, that's true.
that
Well, they
out
said major blood vessel, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a large blood vessel.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to that podcast, the Meat Eater podcast about turkeys that you guys told
Yeah.
me about. And in the beginning of that, they referred back to another podcast they did where the guy
Tourniquet.
recommended that everybody should be carrying a tourniquet. Yeah, legitimate.
Well, yeah, and if nothing else, as long as you have a belt, you know.
right.
You know, just kind of process what Ron just talked about there. You could bleed out in 3 to 5 minutes. So
Mhm.
how many times are we in a field hopping over fences or coming against rusty trackers, slip and fall? So Yeah,
Oh,
maybe you were talking about your backpack a couple weeks ago. What should be in it? I think you should really be carrying a tourniquet.
Yep.
Well, that's what people are talking
Yeah.
about.
Sure.
All right. Who's up? Let's see. I'm going to give that one to Nick. I'm going to put Tyler on the podium here. All right. What type of insulation sleeping gear is the best suited for extreme cold?
This has definitely changed since 1986.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that right now, but it's gonna be goose down probably.
That was the answer on the card.
Yep. Nice.
Right.
Nice.
All right, Doug. What is the best cartridge? Now, again, this is just written. The best cartridge caliber to use for Western type hunting.
Wait. So you mean rifle caliber?
Yeah.
Rifle caliber.
Yep.
I'm a big 270 fan, so I'm going to go with that, but I don't know what the answer would be.
I'm going to give it to you. You're right in the middle. It's a 25 to 30 light caliber or light grain.
Okay.
Oh, we got two in a row. Roof, it's up to you. Is the fly line? Oh, sorry.
What happened?
It's about fish. It's about
Fly
fishing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the fly line identification code on the lines? Is it based on the line's weight? You only got two choices. Is it based on the fly line's weight or the diameter?
I'm going to go pound. Wait.
Boom. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Nick,
Yeah.
Don't lose this one.
All right.
True or false? The difference between the temperature which a grouse enjoys in a snow burrow is often 30 or 40 degrees warmer than the surface temperature.
That's a high number, but I feel like it's more like 20 degrees warmer underneath the snow.
Is that your final answer?
I'll say true.
You want to phone a friend?
No.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Bam. 4 in a row.
Yep.
4 in a row.
God, I'm going to screw this up so bad.
This is like the trap shooting thing where
Right?
you're up again.
Annie Oakley, yeah, for sure.
All right. What is a primitive source of light other than a campfire? Primitive source of light.
Oh, that's easy. Easy. Think hard.
Primitive source of light.
Been around a long time.
It's not a Coleman lantern. Okay.
No, I didn't think it was. No. Other than a campfire. Geez, I mean, it would have to be an oil of some sort. Oh, you know what? Blubber.
Whale blubber.
Yeah, whale blubber for sure.
Well, it says candle.
That counts.
I seriously thought about that, but it's like, can it really be that dumb? But of course,
Yeah, apparently it was.
I mean,
Yes, you could.
Candles were invented before campfires?
no,
Yeah.
not a chance they were.
No, it just says
And you're-
another source
Another
of primitive
source.
light.
I'd have said torch.
And
but-
you want to know, you're busting my nuts for bringing out candles out duck hunting at 3 a.m.
Scented candles. Scented.
You've got historic primitive techniques.
It's lit right now.
That's right.
What is that?
It's a tropical something
Anyway,
mango
Wow.
smoothie.
Look
What
at
is
you with
it?
your sense.
It's a mango smoothie.
Candle?
Yeah, there we go.
That's just wrong.
It smells fantastic.
Tyler's woke.
I have to. I love cigars, but I can't stand the way that they smell.
Yeah.
Like the day after, if I walk out here after I've smoked a cigar, and even in my garage, it's just like, it's just rough. Tropical getaway. Yes, thank you, Brett B.
All right, let me see if I
Told you I was gonna fuck that up.
what does-
God, that makes me mad.
I like
Candle?
your answer though. I don't think that was an F up.
Okay, I got to give this one. I got to give this one to Roof, only because he's the only one I think that might not know it, but I
Oh,
think he knows it.
All right.
Well,
All right.
only because you're not a podcaster. Okay.
Right.
The Chucker partridge is found in the Shenandoah Valley on the eastern seaboard. True or false?
Chucker.
The
I've
chucker.
hunted chuckers long before I've ever been to the valley, so I'm going to say false.
It is false, but that's not why. But that's false.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
So
Yeah.
right.
That's good. Hey, when you see it, Ron, you were stepped away when we did this, but we're gonna give a Project Upland magazine subscription away to the listeners for a trivia question. So
Pick a
it
really good
doesn't
one.
have to be. Say that, Doug.
Let's pick a really good one, Ron.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this one. Just when you see a good one for the audience.
Right. All right. Well, you guys run the show here for a minute. Let me find something that will at least somewhat stump most people.
I think that most of these are so dated that they've been stumping us pretty well.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Problem is, I don't want them to get a lawyer and say, hey, no, this is the right answer.
And well, just so you know, in true transparency, when Tyler said blubber, I do think that could be candle, but I was thinking the light of the moon.
That's what I was thinking too, Ruth.
That's
I
what I
thought
was
about
thinking.
that as well, but
Yeah.
like it was such a weird question.
It was.
Right.
Why did you pick that question? You said you went through these.
Okay. Well, I didn't go this far.
Okay.
I didn't do a lot of prep work.
Fair
His
enough.
attention span's like 8 minutes, so you can.
It's like a squirrel.
Well, actually, it's less than the time you could bleed out. His
I was gonna say
attention
8 minutes is pretty good
Yeah,
in
right.
2020.
Right.
All right. So this is going to be for the subscription, Nick.
If you want it to be, if it's a good one, yeah.
All right, so
I know a couple people that might know this.
Okay.
I know I wouldn't have known it.
So Ron, you're gonna have to watch the comments to make sure you get the right who was
Well,
first.
we'll
You're gonna
watch.
come
So
right
the
up from the
first,
bottom, right?
yeah, the first one that we see getting the right answer on the side is the winner.
As long as we know the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Wait, let me.
so
just,
right now, any answer after Evan's comment here, right, or Brett? So we're watching.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with this one. I think it'll take a second at least. It won't pop up quick. Harlequin is another name for what type of quail? Harlequin.
I thought it was Harley Quinn, the Batman character.
No, Harlequin
I thought it
quail
was-
is the name.
I thought it
for
was the
what
romance novels.
type of
Da,
quail.
da, 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 da.
Just a minute.
Oh, see, no one's popping up.
I've never heard
We got
that.
California. We got Mearns.
Yep. Mearns
Scale.
is
Whoa.
correct.
Bunch
All
of them
right.
popped up.
So we.
Who got it?
I'm no.
What's the correct answer? Or
Mearns
wait,
quail.
We didn't get an answer yet.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, where?
Like a lot of them.
Roof,
Oh,
roof.
shit.
My country outdoors.
Oh, okay. I was looking up the right side on the private chat.
So
I
that's
gotta go to.
one.
Oh, I guess I got to go to live comments, don't I?
Oh, are you sure you want to? It's a wild kingdom in the live comment section right now. Like shit gets real in the live
So,
comments.
Nick, how can they claim their prize?
send me an email, Brock Guy. Or do you want to put the show email in
There
the
it is.
comments, Doug?
All right.
And then you'll get it to me.
They're actually called they're called Montezuma quail, and somebody else did get that kind of right because they are called Montezuma quail in I think it's in New Mexico. They're called that.
I've never heard the Harlequin.
They got a clown face.
They're cool looking
Like
birds.
that
That's for
mascot,
sure.
yeah.
They are
So-
very cool looking birds.
We get an email address and an intro all in the same week. I feel like we're pretty special this week.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you should probably put out that the email address, and we can have people send us guest suggestions or ideas.
Well,
for
we
the
should
show
do
as
like listener stories. You know, if you want to
for sure.
test out your writing chops, send us a story. We could read that on the air. Letters from the listeners, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the happy hour or the Hunter's Happy Hour at gmail.com. So
Yeah.
write it down. Somebody had already stolen Hunter's Happy Hour, so we had to go the Hunter's Happy Hour.
Oh,
What asshole stole that?
I don't know.
We're
But
gonna-
Let's find him and fight him. I will fight him.
Let's launch a spam campaign against that email address.
I already sent him an Instagram, so don't worry about it.
I will
All right, I
interview
got
and
one.
wrestle that
I got
guy
one
right
that-
now on camera. I'm just saying.
this one's open territory to comments and everybody. I want to see if anybody knows this. What is the only natural enemy of the polar bear? Natural
Man.
enemy. No, natural enemy. Like
Man.
other than us.
The Wolverine.
What?
I was going to say global warming.
Has to be global warming.
It's global warming.
Oh, Come on, somebody.
Um,
Comments.
I would just guess a wolf.
No.
walrus.
A whale. The whale with the big spike on it.
They
No,
have
The beluga whale?
they have no natural predators.
Oh no, that's
Zero.
a narwhal whale. I'm
On
sorry.
this silly old game, it says the killer whale.
got it. Whale.
Well,
I got to give you a whale.
they will f up seals, so
I mean, I guess if they find one out in the middle.
Free Willy. Who would have thunk?
yeah, that son of a bitch. We should have never let him go.
Nasty.
He's up there killing
Nasty,
polar bears
nasty
now.
whale.
That bastard.
How do you think they do it? Do they just tail swat him?
I don't know. I got a feeling they just take them under.
I don't really think that I'd really want to. So a big polar bear can be like 11 or 12 feet tall. I don't care how badass you are as a killer whale. You put that thing in your mouth, you're getting effed up. It's going to be rough. Like you are going to regret your decision almost immediately. It's like going
Goldberg
to Buffalo Wild Wings.
spear.
It's like going to Buffalo Wild Wings and doing the blazing challenge. You may win the battle, but you're going to lose the freaking war.
Okay, this deck of cards is so outdated that there is a question here that says, what is a good bird dog the product of?
Well, it should be breeding, but
Okay.
that's the
would
answer.
agree.
Training.
Okay. It says day in and day out attention.
That's not true.
No.
that is just absolutely
Okay.
categorically false.
This whole deck of cards is going into garbage.
I'm going to tell you right now.
No.
whoever did those
I
cards-
want that. I
Yeah.
want you to give that to me, and it'll stay in the bar here.
They had
It'll be fun.
an
You can
agenda
get it
with
for
those
$7
cards.
on eBay, Tyler.
They were
$7?
trying to educate folks.
It's too much. That's too much money. I don't know if I want it for $7.
I paid like $6 for this. I paid almost as much in shipping.
Are there any antique collectors that can tell you the real value in the comments? That'd be nice.
No, but I did see it from anywhere from $7 to
78
$25.
$7 to $25.
I think we need to write our own questions and build our own game. We'll just call it the Hunter's Happy Hour trivia.
What campfire type is the biggest and the hottest? I would
The
assume
white man fire. That is the
Dumpster
biggest and the
fire.
hottest because it involves gasoline.
I don't get it. I don't.
Big white man fire.
How could that be? Question 41. When? What? What?
Is this a comprehension problem? Because that's
Yeah.
a possibility.
Apparently, I think I drank too many beers to start doing trivia now.
Back to that Chicago schooling, right?
So I want to hear more about your guys' crazy adventures. We need to hear some stories that haven't been told on a podcast yet. Are there any?
Oh.
I'd like the
Well,
response right there.
Ron's going to tell a story that I really have no recollection of at all because he had a lot of friends. I don't think I was involved in it. But Ron, one time, way before it was smart to do, he actually tried to burn a forest down to regenerate the habitat. So
Wow.
You did
Before
do that.
conservation was cool.
Before
it was
burning
cool.
before burning conservation was cool, I was
That's
lighting
right.
the cemetery on fire back in the day.
Now, but Ron, I got it. Let me ask you a question though. Before that fire started in the cemetery, did you see any grouse in that cemetery?
I did not.
So-
Did
What
you
about
see any
after?
grouse after?
That w- Well,
No.
that's a whole separate subject.
Yeah, the problem is the fire department. The fire department came and put it out. That was the problem.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were doing a controlled burn, and they wanted to
Yeah.
lessen the lesson.
And for
They were
some
trying to
reason,
save the world.
they didn't think that 14-year-old kids knew what they were talking about.
You know, I was going to tell you this story after I heard. I was there the day when you and Travis were recording that podcast. I was sitting right in the room, and I was laughing because the whole kernel of corn on the pan of a trap thing is something that I never thought of. But I have caught so many different birds in my fox traps over the years; it would blow your mind. And there's one particular day I caught a sharptail live by the foot. The foot hadn't come off yet. And we so on the corner just west of where Mike lives, you've been out there, Ron. There's this old mailbox that sits up in the ditch. It's been abandoned since like the 1940s, right? And me and my grandpa took that sharp-tailed grouse, knowing that my uncle Tom, who Ron also met, who is probably the funniest human on the planet, We knew that there was no way he was going to be able to drive past that thing with the flag up without stopping to open it. So we shoved that live sharp-tailed grouse in that mailbox and put the flag up and just kind of like we set the trap, right? I mean, we knew what was going to happen. And like 3 hours later, we get this. Back then we had CB radios still. I mean, this is like 1994, and we get the calls like, God, I drove past Jack's mailbox down there and flags up. Do you think some asshole actually put something in there to send out? There hasn't been a house there since 1946. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you might want to go and check. And it was like 10 minutes later, he called us back on the CB, and he was so frazzled he couldn't even speak. He's like, "You assholes! I think I shit my pants. I'm pretty sure I had a heart attack, and there's no way that I'm ever going to trust any of you guys again." He opened that mailbox, and that sharp tail came flying out, hit him in the face, knocked him over in the slough, and best day of my life. But I just wanted to tell that story because, catching birds in traps is something that is it's always bizarre to me. Why in the fuck you can catch a sharp tail in a coyote trap? How? Like what attracts it there, right? But you guys actually glued kernels of corn on there. I'm going to try that this fall. I don't know if it's legal, but I may or may not try it.
Elmer's glue. It dries clear.
Yeah,
and you put a little corn around there because we were using corn and they were just picking and they weren't setting the trap off.
Sure.
So we glued it to it.
That is some ingenuity. That is some good thinking right there. Yeah, dead. I've caught gophers like that before, putting a trap over top of the hole, and they come up and right by the neck. It works great.
Hey, Roof, do you see this question? You see
Lumo Hotties or Gino's East?
Well, there's whoever's Andy does know that Chicago's known for thin crust pizza, certainly on the south side. So I give credit to Andy. Back in the day, my favorite was Nick and Vito's at 85th and Pulaski.
Yep.
And Nick and Vito's last name is Baracco, but my favorite now is a couple of the Baraccos have some restaurants out on, a couple of them on 95th and a couple of them a little farther south. So my favorite thin crust pizza today is Baracco's, but it used to be Vito Nick's. So Andy's smart. Andy's smart knowing that Chicago's really known for a thin crust.
Was their last name an homage to Ron's Hunting Dogs? Or was it which one came first there? Because if you're going to name a pizza place after Italian pointing dogs, I'll eat there.
I would say, knowing this family back from Italy, them dogs were probably named after that family.
Yeah. I want a Chicago pizza about that thick.
Yeah, that's not what Andy's talking about, though.
Man.
We like it like this thick. Yeah.
I like that deep dish.
You guys want to take a dog training question real quick?
Oof.
Oh yeah, let's take it. Let's run it.
I see it. This one's for you, Ron.
Olivia is asking, any tips or recommendations for rescue GSP on holding? I have a 2, 4, and 3 year male who will go out, but when they find the bird, they will get the bird, but start eating it while they come back. I've worked on forest fetch, but they still continue to do that. Eating birds.
He's on holding. No, I'm a little confused. I have 2, 4,
and 3.
So she's got
must be 3 of them.
Dogs.
Or does she have a 2?
She has 2 dogs, a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you go.
2,
Yep.
4, and a 3-year-old male who will go out. And when they find the birds, they will get the bird but start eating it. Well, I can tell you one thing: quit putting both birds out at the same time. Dogs out at the same time.
Yeah.
It's creating. Well, it is a bit of a lost cause, Olivia. But if you keep putting those 2 dogs out, that behavior is going to keep manifesting itself. So
I wouldn't say it's a lost cause. So how many birds has this happened to? Is it like something that's happened to 10 birds or something that's happened to 100 birds?
Yeah, if it's 100, it's a lost cause.
If it's 100, it's a lost cause. Specifically dogs, and we see this in puppies a lot. Young dogs, they'll eat a bird or mouth a bird or whatever. But that should go away as they get more experience. One other thing that you may want to try is frozen birds, frozen dead birds.
Yeah, that's good.
like a lot of times they won't, if it's hard and cold, a lot of times they just won't, like it's just not fun for
They
them.
just won't retrieve it.
That would be.
Yeah.
I would think that would be an interesting thing to try. Like if all these are nice, like warm, lively birds that they're tearing into, try a frozen one and see what they do.
Yeah, I agree with Sean though over in the comments. I think it's a competition between the two dogs.
If they're both down
like-
at the same time, I don't know that
Right.
she's saying that, but
Sure.
it
Sure.
could be.
How would you trade my Chesapeake? She bites. All Chesapeakes bite. You can't get away from it. It's like
Get a muzzle.
It's like Brittany's rolling in poop. They all do it. You can't trade anything away from it.
Roof, Randy Herline wants to know what's Roof's favorite breed of dog?
Have you ever owned a bird dog?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I earned one of Ron's first litters, his A litter, out of his the mom
hair.
was Queenie,
Yep.
German short hair, and she was pretty special because she became, my kids loved her, my wife loved her, so I absolutely am partial to that breed of dog because they were very loving to me and my wife and my kids. But I've really fallen in love with a couple of Ron's Broncos, so.
Yeah.
Just that they're just such a sweet from the couch to the field dog, right? But
I keep on telling
I'm still
Ron, I keep on telling Ron he can send Bravo up here anytime he wants and he can stay with me.
Oh, he's a love bug.
Bravo's a sweet.
I like Bravo a lot.
But one of Ron's, but I still like the short hairs. They're fun.
Mhm.
They as long as you can run them 23 hours a day, you're okay. And keep the 50 feet of hose away from them, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Any kind of power
Ron-
cord that goes to anything.
But Ron used to have a wire hair that was an absolute sweetheart dog too. Zygon, that was a pretty special dog.
Oh yeah, he was.
If I could
Bravo.
have Zygon, I would take Zygon, and that was a wire hair.
Yeah. He
But
wasn't.
I'm partial to my first
He
one.
wasn't great with other male dogs, but boy, he loved people to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Hans is.
I mean, I'm certainly no expert in this. I've had stuff put on projectupland.com and the Project Upland magazine, but that's kind of, I don't know. That's I obviously have an in there, but I mean, you got to put the best thing down that you can on paper and submit it to a few different places and see what kind of feedback you get. I mean, if the editors read it and give you feedback, go that way. But I honestly started a blog, published my own stuff there. I mean, nobody can tell you that you can't put your own stuff on your own blog. So that's one way to do it. That would be a way to get started if you're not getting traction somewhere else, so you can put stuff on a blog and put it there, and then you can at least get it out in front of other people so they can read it. That's sort of circumventing the traditional channels. But if you're talking, your Covey Rise, your Shooting Sportsman, your traditional magazine pieces, those editors they're in that position for a reason. I mean, they know how to curate and select good pieces. So you gotta have good quality stuff to get there.
Here's what you do, Hillbilly Hans. You write an article or story, email it to us at thehuntershappyhour@gmail.com. We'll post it on Facebook, and we'll let all of your peers tell you how much it sucks or how good it is.
We'll read it. We'll read it here.
We'll read it here next week.
Yep.
Ron will do a dramatic reading. And he will wrap it.
It was a sunny afternoon, and we left the truck as the tailgate dropped. Now, I'm going to tell you a little publishing story. Because of hanging out with Mr. Ranella, Steve always told me, like, literally wrote probably about a half a dozen things for Steve in some of his books and his cooking and his how-tos. But he says, Ron, you have great ideas, but you can't write. I can't punctuate. I don't know when to start and stop. But he says your thought process is there, which always made me think like, ooh, maybe I do got the gift, right? So after I did my first sage grouse hunt, I got really motivated. This is back when I could get a hold of Steve, like just with a phone call, not have to go through his secretary for an appointment, And I called him up. He said, "What's up?" I said, "I want to write a story about my first sage grouse hunt." And he said, "Well, you want me to help you with it?" I said, "No, but I want you to critique it." So I was typing and typing, which is like, looks like a woodpecker going against the side of a. Anyway, I get through this, and I got hundreds and hundreds of words and no paragraphs, but I love the story because I love the hunt so much, and so I gave it to Steve, and he's like, well. He says, first of all, he says, if you don't want me to fix it. I said, no, I don't want you to fix it. He goes, all right. He gave me like a structure, like an opening, a middle, an end, whatever a typical magazine story is, and then bring it around, kind of like the first paragraph at the end. So he gave me a structure, and I said, okay, thanks, Steve. That's it. And I wrote it, and I did what so many people do. I sent it to Outdoor Life, Pointing Dog Journal, Covey Rise, Upland Almanac. I sent to everybody, and I kept checking my emails. Tyler, it was like when you first had a podcast, you check your downloads every day, right?
Sure. Yep.
Anybody listen today? Anybody listen?
I haven't checked in months.
I never got a response from any publisher, not even a rejection.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was a good story.
And definitely got to be prepared for that.
I got to know Ben Williams when I interviewed him. And once I talked to him a few more times, then I did an in-person interview with him. And I said, Ben, I wrote this story, and I don't want to be a writer, but I just wanted one out there, right? And I gave it to Ben to read, and I'm in his house, right, in Livingston, Montana. And he reads it, and he goes like, I go, what do you think? He says, it sounded like a great trip. But all I read was I. So whoever wants to know how to get published, don't say I did this and then I did this and then I did this and then we did this and then don't do that. That's all advice I can give you.
I actually had an article accepted by Pointing Dog Journal. And it never ended up getting published because it was in 2017 when the drought hit North Dakota. It was basically about how to hunt birds and where in North Dakota. I showed it to Nick last year down in Lander or whatever. And it's basically I sent an email to Steve Smith at Pointing Dog Journal with an idea. And that was the way that he was like, okay, that's a good idea. We would like to see that article. Yeah. So write a draft, send the draft in. Mm-hmm. And I sent the draft in that day because I was just like Ron. I was like, just going crazy. Like I was like, 2 hours worth of hard work. I smoked it, right? No. Like he sends me back a letter. He's like, we need to talk about a lot of things. He's like, all the information is really good. The information's great. The rest of it, awful. Like, do you know how to, just like Ron, I don't think I ended a paragraph. I'm pretty sure I barely used punctuation, but he's like, everything else is there. He's like, all the information's really good. The thought behind it is really good. So let's start working on the rest of it. So maybe if you do really want to get something published, you go with that direction where you send out like an idea and see if they're interested, because if they're interested, they'll help you.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good one for editors. The other thing I will say is like, if you get like what Ron and Tyler, and when I write, I get excited and you pour out onto the paper, you write and you write and you write and you write. It's like a stream of consciousness. Yeah. Yes. And that's good. You're in the flow state. You're writing. That's exactly how you want to write, but do not hit send right.
Don't hit send. Yeah.
Right.
You need to give it to somebody else first.
You need to go to sleep. You need to wake up the next day. You need to read it again, rewrite it, rewrite it. Go through it at least 3 to 5 times before you even send it
to somebody else that you trust. I don't give a shit if it's your high school English teacher. Send it to somebody, because somebody needs to read it and be like, oh, like, how do you not know how to do this? Because you kind of need that.
Well, and even like, your thoughts come out one way, but I read stuff that I wrote 2 years ago and I want to change it.
Sure.
You will want to tweak it and improve it even days later. So as much as the timeline allows, go back to it and reread it and rewrite it.
Yeah, and anybody who doesn't think
better.
anybody who doesn't think punctuation is important, this is the best example I've ever heard, and it's from a friend of mine who's an English teacher. He's like, okay, so this is how you use a comma. I said, okay, I'm listening. I want to help my uncle, comma, Jack, or my uncle Jack, comma, off a horse, or I want to help my uncle Jack off a horse. That's totally different statements. Yep. All that's different is a comma. And like that's the only thing that's different. It changes the entire outlook of the whole sentence. So it's very important. So send it to here in Minot now, in North Dakota, there's a guy that's a friend of mine now. Kim Fundingsland is he's a writer for the local newspaper. He writes outdoor segments. So anything that I'm ever going to write in the future, I'm just going to email it to him and have him be like, okay, this is what we need to do, and kind of reword a little bit. You need to add a comma. You need to put a period. You need to start a new paragraph, that kind of shit, before you ever send it off to anybody else. And also, don't help your Uncle Jack off a horse. That's just terrible.
That's not right.
Unless you're in that sort of business. But.
I mean, yeah. I think they use different things. Well, I mean, Ron went through a whole thing about dogs a couple weeks ago. People can look back. I mean, there's a whole tutorial including motions and an accent.
And sound effects.
Yeah.
I'm much better at telling a story than I am at writing a story.
The answer to that, way
good
more than
bourbon.
A six-pack. Way more than a six-pack.
Good bourbon. Yeah.
I would say a bottle or at least a case of beer.
At least, yeah.
Bare minimum.
Yeah, some of that 21-year-old scotch I was drinking.
Yep.
Ronnie, where were we in the valley? It was north of your place. There was some guy up there with a bunch of pigeons. We were doing some training.
Oh, that was Matt.
You guys
Smith
were out.
Wade Dellinger. Yep.
You were out in the field, and I was back at the pigeon coop, making sure they didn't get out. And I don't know, I must have took a little nap or something. And all of a sudden, there's 50 pigeons in the air. And Rod's like 100 yards away, carrying his gun, looking at me, just shaking his head. There's birds everywhere. Dogs are running all around.
Roof, if I didn't know better, I think you have a little narcolepsy.
I got evidence of that.
Yeah. Nick's the one who took the picture of you and Chip sleeping.
I wonder if I can find that.
I got to tell you a story of me and Roof. Now, this is 1998, okay? And 1998, my dad was getting ready to die, and Roof and I obviously were best buddies, and there, yeah, Roof, there's Roof.
Yeah, well.
While Ron and I were on stage doing a grouse panel,
trying to entertain people.
All right. Well, here's who they were entertaining.
What's that?
There's nothing there.
Can you
wait? Raise it up.
Oh,
empty audio. That's a lie.
See, they were social distancing before it was cool. Look, here's Pheasant Fest. They got 22,000 people there, and they want to know why we're taking a nap. It's just like shooting. It's all about camera direction. Yeah, that wasn't unfair. I purposely cut that picture out.
That was good.
I know you did. Oh, God dang it. I can't remember what I was going to tell you, that story.
When your dad was sick, going out to Iowa.
So, Rusty, and I'm going to do this too. And I gave a talk up in Cadillac once about hunting and why I hunt. And I hunt for friends. I do.
I think you were interested in that talk, if I remember right.
You were there, Doug?
Oh, yeah.
I don't hunt to fill the freezer. I don't hunt for a bag limit. I hunt for friends. The dogs and the bags and the freezer birds and the dinners, that's all bycatch, right? And in 1998, my dad was just fixing ready to die, but he was still kicking for a little bit, and I wanted to go hunting. I didn't want to go all the way to South Dakota, so I said to Roof, I said, we're not going to go the big trip. I said, let's go to Iowa this year. And we got to Iowa, and we check into our motel, and I got a chain gang out. I think we had your dog, Roof, and then 3 of mine, and we put a chain gang out. We fed them, had a couple beers. It's right in Grinnell, Iowa.
Right off of Route 80.
Right off Route 80. I think it was a motel, Super 8. And we fed the dogs, and my sister Gloria, who came in from California, which is the girl that told me before I got married to Debbie that I shouldn't. And that's the girl that you wouldn't take her advice to cross the street. But back to her true form, she called me up. She went into Chicago to see Dad, and she calls me up and she goes, Ron, it's bad. Dad, it's bad. You got to get back here now. I'm like, well, I just talked to Dad 11 hours ago, and he said, son, go hunting. I'll be around for a while. And I said, are you sure, Dad? He said, yeah, go hunting. You and Rusty go hunting. But I'm like, Roof, we got to go. And Roof's like, of course we got to go. Packed the dogs up, put them back in the truck. Didn't even sleep in the Super 8 that night. We're driving back from Iowa to Illinois, and I said, Roof, Des Plaines Area Conservation is right on our way home. We can't see my dad at midnight. Let's go park there like we used to do at Kankakee. Let's go hunting. Let's go hunting. We got the dogs. No one expects us to act this quick. If Dad's dead, he's dead. And if he's not dead, we'll see him by tomorrow. And he's like, okay. And just like at Kankakee, we would pull in, and we know that because these people get these reservations almost a year in advance, there's always somebody that's sick, somebody, whatever. There's always some no-shows. So there's always a room for the will call line. And I'm driving that Ford diesel pickup truck, and we get in line, and we see 2 other cars in line, and we had never been here. We're like, yeah, it's just like Kankakee. We're good. And we're all just giddy. I'm like, oh God, we got beer. We got, we're still going to hunt tomorrow before we go see my dad. And I'm sitting in that truck, and I'm drinking a beer, and I know I wasn't smoking cigarettes back then. I don't even think I was smoking anything. And I look over at Rusty. He's like,
yeah, right. Well, no, I had told you let's spend some time talking for a while and make a nice night out of it. So
right. So, as soon as we get in line, just like that picture that Nick showed up, I'm sitting there all jacked up in line, and my best friend is going. So I opened up my sleeping bag and put it across both of us, and we fell asleep in a truck together. But that to me is
how cute.
That's what hunting. That's what buddies are for when you go hunting.
For sure.
I would never not. If I had to choose, if you could only hunt alone or with people, and we're in quarantine, I'll bet you my hunting's going to drop way off. Because I hunt with my friends. It's too much fun.
My buddy Matt, he's like that too. He could fall asleep any place. You give him 2 idle minutes and he's out. It doesn't matter if he's sitting up. I swear to God, he could fall asleep standing still. And I am so jealous of that skill. I can't do that. No. He'll be riding in the passenger seat of the pickup, going from one spot to the other, and I'll look over and just. It's like, how? We've been in the truck for 7 minutes. It's noon. What are you talking about? How in the hell is this possible?
Well, I can't drive
at night.
I can't fall asleep when Ron's driving, though, so I don't.
Been there.
I think this was after 8 hours of driving with Ron.
It's tiring.
I'm that guy, 2 minutes idle time, and I'm sleeping. I don't care what's going on or what's.
Oh God, that's impressive. I wish I had that skill.
Right. How about the turkey we got in Kansas the one time?
You just shot a turkey in Kansas?
Yeah, we got a turkey in Kansas. It was kind of a roadkill, though.
Roof,
Like with the truck or off the road?
with the van.
Nice.
I'm driving that big Quigley 4-wheel drive van I had, or Roof's driving.
Roof's driving.
We just stopped and got a coffee, and we're driving, and I see this turkey coming across this bean field, and this turkey is he's running. I don't know where he's running from. And Roof's just driving, and I'm like, Roof, you see that turkey? Roof, you see that turkey? And I'm like, I keep thinking this turkey is going to get squashed by the car in front of us because, everything's coming together. No, this turkey stops. And I said, Roof, you see the turkey? He's not even listening. I think he was sleeping. This turkey leaps up and right into the windshield of the van and actually bends the metal frame of the window and spider webs the entire van window.
And glass came at us.
Oh, glass came all over us. Little shards of glass came all over us. And we went to a Ford dealer who I called, and they said, oh, yeah, so we just come on and we can fix that for you. It's kind of an emergency. They're still open. And when he got there, he goes, your whole frame's bent. All he did was put tape all over this thing. What? I drove home like this.
We're lucky that thing hit that rim up on top, or he would have a black square up here where I'm sitting.
It would have came right through the windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ.
And we don't know who got the turkey. We didn't even go back for the turkey. Then we were mad we didn't stop for the turkey.
It was. Believe me, it was a pillowcase.
So that was my first turkey I ever got.
CJ just posted time to put the kiddos to sleep, and I hate to end it, but I got to get to sleep myself. You crazy some bitches. Is there do we want to do a final story, final thought, anything else like that before we kind of close this thing out for the night? It's past 9:00 already, so in Central.
Yeah.
Sure.
What do you want to do? Let's do it.
I'll make a comment.
Yeah, do it.
I got back into hunting with Ron about 96. I go at least once a year with him regularly. And even though I don't have a dog anymore, I'm not training. I still like listening to the podcasts. I like learning the social aspect. I know when I was out at Pheasant Fest a couple years ago, just when you look at the thousands of people there, everyone's connected somehow to each other.
Absolutely.
Right? Maybe this first person way over here and this person's not, but there is a clear connectivity through everyone, and it's through this whole sportsmanship, the wives, the husbands, the kids, the grandpas, the uncles, the grandparents. It's just phenomenal what you guys have. And to the couple people that are trying to get in, you guys gave all the right things to do, but the experience, the lifelong laughs, the hunting, the eating is just unbelievable. And you guys got something very, very special, and everyone's got to take advantage of it. That's my closing thought.
Hey,
That's
man.
perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to be out at Pheasant Fest again this year in South Dakota again, Roof?
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning on never missing one for the rest of my life. So
there we go.
Very good.
We go. We'll have to have there's been about 5 comments here with we have to do a full segment on sex ed with Ron. Apparently there's a real desire for that out there.
Yeah,
So
I can do it.
We got to do some pre-show planning for that.
Well, we're gonna have to find props for sure.
That's Ron first.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna need some.
Yet?
What's that?
You got that soundboard yet?
Yeah, right.
Some sound effects.
Tyler, you gonna send that over before we get to that?
Well,
do we have anything to tease? Do we have anything to tease for next week? We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We don't have anything official, but it's gonna be a good one. Yeah,
we I think we're all gonna try to get together at some point in the next. I told Doug last night when I was talking to him on my way back from fishing that I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna put together a list of people that I would like to talk to, and we gotta. any comments that you guys would have about somebody that you would really like to see on here, we're open to it. Like there's a lot of people out there that are smarter on some subjects than us. Not all subjects, but
Many
some.
of them. Most.
Many.
Most
of them. But if there's anybody out there that you guys would really like to see us talk to, we would love the input.
Yep.
Ronald?
I'll just reiterate what everybody just said. No, I like doing this. I love people joining in. We can't get together. Hopefully we do this for a long time to come. It might not always be Friday nights.
Yep.
Right.
Once we're all allowed to go out with our wives and girlfriends and whatever, it might end up being on Sundays or Tuesdays.
Sure.
But I love the community that it's built so far. And I want to see the community get bigger.
Absolutely. 100%. So, Doug, you have anything to tell anybody before we sign off?
Yeah.
Doug's always got something.
I've always got something. I'm going to shamelessly beg you guys all to give us a thumbs up. So once the video is ended, go in and click thumbs up if you enjoy what you're doing, or what we're doing, I should say. It means a lot, and it helps us know that we're kind of moving in the right direction. If you also enjoy what we're doing, click the share button, send it to a friend, invite somebody to watch next week. I know I dropped it in the comments. Subscribe. So that helps us know that we're doing the right stuff. And then at the end, I know that we today wasn't, we didn't really dig into anything deep, but in the comments after we end the cast, write in who was your the biggest influence into getting you into hunting. So if we see some good stories in there, I'll make a list of them. Maybe we'll share them on the next stream if we've got some really good ones. And if I see one, maybe I'll even reach out to you and see if we can get a little bit more detail. And I just want to say I absolutely love, again, I love the community that we're building as well, and can't wait to continue doing that. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for joining us, and we will see you guys again next week.
Absolutely.
Be safe.
See you next week, everybody.
Salud.
Cheers.
Love you guys. Love you girls more.